Okay, we're recording. Welcome back to another episode of Work Study. I am your illustrious host, Ayana, and I'm very excited about this week's episode. I'm excited about all episodes. To anyone else who's been on the podcast, don't get jealous. But today's guest, I'll have to tell you the story at some point on how we became connected. It really is a testament to making sure that you're showing up, you're doing your work, and you're sharing your work. But enough about me. Today's guest is an award winning, multidisciplinary creative who works across the mediums of live performance, film, photography, print. His work pushes the boundaries of possibility, exploring his subjects and their stories often through the lens of surrealism. Now, so it's a serious resume thing. Let me just let me just run down some of the clients and collaborators real quick. This is by the way, this is a truncated list. Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Big Sean, Thames, Chanel, Apple, Fear of God, Joe Fresh Goods, Nike. This man, myth, legend, Mike Carson. Welcome to Work Study. Happy to
I
have
pre-
you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm a fan of the pod, so and thanks for the
Man,
intro. It's always weird to like hear things said in real life that are like typed out online, but it feels good.
I was
So
gonna
thank
say,
you.
yeah, it always feels weird hearing how people describe your work, and then you
Yeah,
hear the running list of accolades because obviously when you're in the work, you don't feel those things. Not that you're not proud of it, but it doesn't
yeah.
feel like,
No, it's work.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But you're doing it. You're doing it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, I want to ask you this question that I ask all of my guests. It's a three-part question. Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it?
Mm, that's a great question. Um, who am I? I am Mike Carson, a 34-year-old black man from Chicago, uh, born in Los Angeles, raised by two amazing parents. I say I'm a child of God, blessed and highly favored. And, I think overall I'm just like a dreamer and somebody who just has always stayed curious, uh, since day zero. So I think that's why I'm here. Um, what was the next question? Sorry.
And why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? Um, I do what I do for a multitude of reasons. I think one, I love the idea of just expression, um, whether that be like my own self expression or helping other people like express themselves. So I get a lot of like, what's the word? Fulfillment out of like seeing something go from like 0 to 100, like creating an idea from scratch is like extremely fulfilling to me. And then I just also love just being able to make stuff that people like can connect with and interact with, whether that's like at a concert and somebody gets to see their favorite artist that they've like saved up 6 months of savings for, or write or direct something that like touches somebody or helps somebody like push like a message or a vision forward. So it's part of it. And then I think the other part is just like there's like an inner child in me that like grew up watching like making the video and behind the scenes of like DVDs and stuff that like I think I'm always like doing stuff for my younger self in a sense that is like, I'm still very curious and still very like excited about what I do. But I think sometimes I have to like remind myself of like why why I have why I am excited. And a lot of that is like just me being curious as a kid and being like such a fan of like the different mediums that I get to play with them. So
And speaking of your inner child, you knew that you wanted to be a filmmaker, director pretty early on, right? If I'm not mistaken, you picked up your first camera around 8 or 9, right?
yeah, it's been like a lifelong thing for me. Like I've always just been into like as a whole as a kid. So whether that was like keyboards or computers or like video games, and then like I feel like around 8 or 9, I think the camera was the thing that kind of clicked the most in my brain. So
Which is kind of wild to think about that you've actualized your lifelong dream and
yeah,
you're able to sustain yourself
it's
and build a
insane.
life around that.
Yeah, it's insane. I think it's also like a testament to like the 10,000 hours thing of like I've like since I was that age like only kind of thought about one thing, even if it's shape shifted within like to become like a quote unquote creative director or designer or whatever. Like there was always some version of that being like cultivated since I was a kid. So like um, I think I'm like the result of like 20 plus years of curiosity. So yeah.
20 plus years is kind of insane. And you
I
also
know
got
it ages me. It sounds old, but like,
no, we're in the same boat. I'm 31. We're in
yeah,
the same boat.
yeah,
I feel like we're part of that last generation that was able to create without the pressure of social in the way that
yeah,
we have social now. It's like I
for
can't
sure.
imagine thinking about some of those earlier pieces of anything, art,
Yeah,
photos, stuff that I like made when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, making its way on the internet for people to see.
yeah. What's crazy is like a few years back, somebody found like something I uploaded on YouTube when I was like 13. And I was
Oh
like,
my god.
whoa, I gotta
That's
wipe
like low
this.
key my biggest fear.
Yeah, I had to wipe it.
I feel like there's somewhere
Yeah,
on the cloud a video of me at 13 rapping lyrics to a Childish Gambino song or something like
I believe
ridiculous.
it. Yeah,
I hate that
I
for
was
everyone.
doing it all. Like, so yeah, but I agree with you in terms of like the last generation. I think it's like twofold. It's like not having to think about output in the same way that people do, but also like I think there's a part of me, in like the formative years of like 17, 18, 19, 20 for me where I wasn't thinking about like credit or like being seen and then more just about like being good and getting better and like being of service that I think like if I was 18 right now, I don't know that I would have the same thought just because of how everything is packaged and like the thought of like, showing your work or like being like, you need to know I did this thing. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
and that's not to knock showing your work because I think it's important, but I think the NDAs were a little crazier
I'm sure the things you've
in like
seen, we won't talk about it,
2010.
but
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I think of like 2010, 2011, like that whole like Watch the Throne era where I was just happy to be there. Like I still would be very much happy to be there right now, but like I think I also would be thinking about like, oh man, they gotta know I'm working on this,
Yeah.
or like, oh man, this didn't come out like versus like, and that's not to say I didn't think about that then, but it wasn't like the thing yet. Like I feel like now it's the thing, even with like people that you might assume are like ironclad NDA people. Like after stuff comes out, you see who worked on all this stuff. So I think it's a gift and a curse, but I think it's tough for a young person um, trying to navigate maybe these times. I could see,
Yeah.
and
Do
I
you
still am a
feel
young person. I don't want to sound
I was
old.
gonna say,
Yeah,
we're still don't age us yet. We're
yeah,
this is our prime years. Do you remember the first thing that you shot with that camera?
definitely something to my brother like in the backyard. 100%, which is cool because like me and my brother just had kind of a full circle moment. Like we just launched this Don Tolliver tour, and I got to
Fire.
like hire my brother to kind of like work, and he was just kind of walking around like, yeah, man, people don't know like we used to be in the backyard, so it's cool to like
Yeah.
have the full circle thing. Yeah,
I'm sure people see your website or your credentials or your Instagram and they're like, you must be living the life, sitting back with your feet up.
nah, man, I very like Don't get me wrong, I'm very like I'm in a great space, very fortunate. But like I'm still working very hard. Like before we started recording, we were saying like 7 days a week work, trying to figure out that balance. But yeah, no, the work is still going on. I kind of in a weird way feel like I'm 18 again because I'm like navigating maybe a different part of it, which is like trying to build like a truly sustainable business like outside of myself, where like I have the knowledge and the tools, but it's like it's not as secondhand to me as like creating might be. Just trying to like be a, have a sustainable and profitable business outside of just like me working myself to the bone is like the new challenge. So it's like the same way I was like 18 trying to navigate and like standing next to a Virgil or whatever trying to learn. I'm in like a similar boat where I'm trying to like soak as much game from like, people that are on production companies or studios or things that I, aspire to, build from a scale perspective where I'm like, all right, what do I need to be doing? And like, how can I like learn? Um, so yeah.
What made you think about that transition going from like I'm a creative director, solo entity to now I need to kind of build this business around me? What was that
Yeah,
point in your career?
it's been a few of them. It's like on paper, it's like, everyone does the like, I'm a studio or I'm an agency, and it like, it'd be one or two of us.
Not too much, not too much.
No, I'm with you. I'm like, I stand there with you. So like for year, for technically on paper, like there has been for 11 years now a studio, but like it is just now becoming a thing that like actually has like some systems and stuff. But I think as the scale increases and like my ambitions increase and like what is kind of required to like support the scale of projects has grown, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, like there's no way I can do all this by myself. And that's not to say I've done anything in my past totally by myself, but like
Sure,
there are certain things that people might have seen from you where they might have thought it was like 20 people in a room and it might have just been me plus one or me to be framed by myself. So now it's like, working on a Super Bowl or something, it's like you have to have a robust team around you, both creatively and logistically, to like sustain and even like to be like a true professional in like that arena, whether it's like the calls and like the quantity of communications needed or like the output of like how many revisions you need or like things beyond my personal skill set. So like I think you kind of get to a point where you're like, all right, yes, I can do this, but I can only do this to a certain extent, and like
fall through
something
the
is gonna
cracks.
fall through the cracks, whether it's like a logistical admin thing, or it's a thing where it's like I can only draw so much with my own two hands, or like on a computer, like I don't have the 3D modeling skill set as like, some of the people I might work with now. So in that, it's like, all right, you do enough of those, and like you start to be like, all right, cool. There's some like consistency here. Maybe I want to have more consistent people, a cast and crew around me, like at all times. And that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like, all right, I need to like, it's going well, but like I think it can go even better and be a lot more efficient if I like sit down for maybe a month and like really take the time to like, check off some of the things on my to do list. So
Yeah, it never feels like you have those sit down moments. Every time you
yeah,
feel like you're about to
I
sit
gotta
down,
force
you're
it.
like, oh my God, crazy call. Now, I want to quickly go back to Super Bowl. Now,
Yeah,
for those who don't know, tell us about what you did for the Super Bowl. I won't steal your thunder. Let us know what you did
yeah.
for
What did I
the Super Bowl.
do? um, along Kendrick and Dave Free, designed and creative directed the Super Bowl 2025. I don't even know what it is. LIX. So that I don't know what number that is, but yeah, the halftime show for Kendrick was a part of
Which was
that.
crazy.
Yeah, no, it's like it's gonna be pinned on my Instagram probably forever.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a project you tell your kids and your kids' kids about.
yeah, which is funny because it's like it's one of those things you like aspire to do like in your career, and like to be frank, not to say I didn't think I'll ever do a Super Bowl because I did, but I didn't think I would. It would be right now. So like, I think last year just as a whole was just like a good confidence booster to be like, okay, you can like do anything with the right team, and if you put your mind, take the time to like really focus and lock it in, and like obviously with like amazing people. So yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of it. I'm like probably the most proud of it out of it's probably a top two thing I've done. I couldn't
Gotta
tell you
be.
couldn't tell you the other thing right now, but yeah,
Now,
it,
talk to me about some of the systems you had to build to get a production off like that, or some systems that coming out of Super Bowl, you're like, okay, like this went well and it looked and felt as we wanted it to, but there are some logistical or pre-production or post-production things that could have gone a little bit smoother had I had the proper systems or these specific systems in place.
yeah. I think what was good is like the year prior, I worked so much to the point of like burning myself out that I like was able to be like, all right, I know I have to like really lock in on this versus like trying to like juggle four things at the same time or five things at the same time as a Super Bowl. And on the same token, I like built a rapport with like just some like creative collaborators, like from you know my own creative producer to like art director and like associate designer, to where like that year prior had done enough big things to where I was like, all right, cool, I know what the core team is, and like this is the pipeline of like how we need to operate within that. So like obviously sitting and working with Dave and Dot on like the creative and like uh, putting that into words and into writing and like presentation to like present to 100 people on a Zoom, and then taking that feedback to my team and like really creating like internal kind of like think tank of like how we got from point A to point B. So it was nothing like technically new. I think it was just more about like, I think the biggest thing is just like delegation, right? Like I think as a creative, that's still my biggest like, I want to say downfall is like I probably take on too much. And I think with that, it was like a beautiful scenario because I was able to delegate like even just thinking about the creative, like being able to bounce ideas with Kendrick and Dave, and then like taking that, drawing 2D drawings on a piece of paper, and then going to like and then sometimes I would throw it in 3D and like do a very crude sketch, and then like talk to Jack, who's an associate designer on that, and we would like iterate 20 versions of that, and then like um, bring it back. So I won't bore you with the like the
This
day to
this is
day of
this
it.
is what the people came to hear, Mike. You can
Yeah,
never
but
bore us with
um,
that.
I think the biggest thing was just like delegation and like having like a strong person that was like, which side of the brain is more admin? Is it left or right?
Left, right, left. I feel like
Left.
left feels
I think it's
analytical.
left.
Let's just
Yeah,
say that.
sure. Having like a really strong left brain person to like be on top of like the stuff that I might not want to be on top of, like vendor calls and all that jazz, even though I did have to do a lot of that. So
Yeah.
I think coming out of it, I felt pretty good. I was just like, okay, could we have delegated even more? I think was the
Right.
question.
Right.
Or like, should I position this a little bit better? But I think that's one of the rare ones where there wasn't too many regrets. Um, but I do have like now, and I've had it for years, but like I just opened it back up like after each project where I'm like writing like this is what could have went better. Just because I
Oh,
feel
that's
like
fire.
if I don't, and because I haven't in the last few years, I feel like I've made a lot of the same mistakes because like you work in music and culture like I do in the sense of like everything is like a fire drill, and like sometimes when it's a fire drill you're like, oh, let's just do this real quick, and you're like, dang, I probably should have hired somebody else because I forgot on that last one they
Yep.
were X, Y, and Z, or like I should have done something differently. um, so yeah.
Now, a lot of your collaborators are musicians, whether it's Thames or Big Sean, Kendrick. Music is clearly something that's important to you. One, I want to know a little bit more about your relationship with music, but also what it's like working alongside musicians who often have very strong POVs on how they want to present their music to the world and their creative ideas in the world, and how you kind of balance what they want and what they're thinking versus what you think is the best execution of that idea.
Yeah, good question. In terms of music, like I think I love music more than I love anything visual because I feel like it's like the most important thing in the world. like not in the world, but you know what I mean. I think it's more important than the image, to be frank. And I like have I grew up in the church, so like music is like very much been a thing and part of my life, and like I think I've been like every kid where it's been like, oh, let me make beats or like let me like learn how to do all these things. So like, and I still to this day like I'll buy some like Kevin Parker from Tame Impala dropped a
Fire.
keyboard and like I dropped and I bought it last year. It's collecting dust, but like that part of me like is never left. So like I love music and like um I love what it as someone who creates, it's like the best. I think it's the best arena to play within as a visual artist, especially somebody like up and coming, because you get like the film out of it, you get the graphic design out of it, you get the live or experiential out of it. So like, I can't just walk into Netflix right now and get a movie deal, but I probably can walk into a label and like
Hell
figure
yeah.
figure something out. So like, um, yeah. And then in terms of like working with, I honestly I prefer somebody with a strong vision versus like a like, oh, just vibes, like whatever you think, because like then it just becomes twice as hard to me. So like I think that's why like as of late it's been a lot more focused on like who I'm working with, just so that like I can work with people that are going to push me and like to think outside the box or like to think in a way that I might not have thought in. And like I think the worst thing on a project is the only challenge being like something logistical or like something
Yeah, that's so whack.
annoying versus like, oh, this person, like I would have never thought about this. Like for instance, like Kendrick, I would have never thought to put a puppet, like because I'm not gonna suggest being like, yo, you should rap with a puppet. But like that's something only he would think of. And like I'm like, all right, cool. So let's figure out what this puppet looks like. And like let me
Yeah. And I'm sure
draw
that then sparks another idea that jumps off of
100%.
that, and now we're kind of in that ecosystem.
Yeah. So like I love working with like strong creative minds that have like even if it's just like a drop of vision to say like, so I think my first question I always ask people is like, how do you want to present yourself? Like if there's like a, excuse me if this is loud. If it's like the start of a new era or start of a new rollout or whatever, it's like, is there a key word or is there like a feeling or is there something you want to evoke in terms of like with the audience? And like usually a good artist has like one or two things where they're like, oh, this is the vibe or this is the sandbox. I think it's like a little scarier for me when somebody's like, I don't know, you just cook up, because it's kind of like it's gonna take twice as long, and like
Yeah.
they actually might know what they want to do, but they just need to like see it on paper, and then like it gets a little wonky, just to be honest. So yeah,
So when you're working with creatives, whether it's creative businesses or artists, I like how you said you started with like, what is the emotion? What is it that you're trying to evoke?
yeah,
From that conversation, I know you're very big on research and deep diving. I think you're
yeah.
building your own archive, if I'm not mistaken,
I'm
of things.
trying. Yeah, it's always on. It's like the to do list.
Like
I
an
have like,
ongoing.
yeah, like I obviously have like a reference library, but like I need to like really organize it.
I
Just
would love to hear about where you pull these inspirations from and how you store that information, whether you're like a notes app, Notions person, hella
yeah,
bookmarks on Instagram and TikTok. Are you like a physical library person? Like how do you kind of pull that all those resources, information together? And is it something that you're constantly always doing in the background, or you kind of go into full research mode once you kind of are briefed in on a project?
it's both. I think like I'm always thinking about stuff. So like I have a thing I'll do a notes app where like I'll write like idea colon just so it's easy for me to like search it after. Where I've just been like something pops in my head, whether it's like this is a good coffee flavor or like this is a good TV show. Like um, I'm storing ideas in there, and then like I have like reference photos on my actual computer that like I've had for 10 years now, and like
I,
I used to like I just made another new one because it was like reference 1.0 to 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. I don't know where 1.0 and 2.0 are because I probably made them like 10 years ago, but like I've been trying to like kind of timestamp it so I can like see what I was into like years ago. And I've been doing that on Arena too, where like, cause I've only been on Arena maybe like 6 years, but like I have like a 2020 folder and I can see like what I was into in 2020
Hard.
through
Private
20.
or you keep
Yeah, it's
your arena
private.
boards?
Nah,
Oh my
it's
god, you
private.
guys are so stingy. I love looking at people's arena boards. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna
Uh,
steal this.
nah, it's private. Sorry. But I really
Oh,
respect people with the public ones because thank you.
thank you very much.
But I think if somebody like saw my name and like put two and two together, like
For
it would
sure.
just
Oh, it's
blow
over
stuff
with.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think like everyone, like when you're quick, fast, in a hurry, like the tools like Arena and Pinterest or Shot Deck or whatever are great. I definitely have been trying to like challenge myself to like have more time, so like that's not my starting point. But I think especially lately, it's been a lot of like against the gun where I'm like having to like start in a folder that I've already built, let's say for stage designer, and like I have like an architecture folder where I'm looking at like architecture or like buildings or like opera designs I've saved over the last 10 years, because it's
Okay.
fast and easy. But like I'm trying, and I have, I'm not just pulling from places that are already curated. So like I think the majority of the things that are like on my actual computer versus like stored in like boards or like online sites are like me deep diving, whether it's like Flickr. Flickr is like a low key gym,
High key.
uh, especially if you're like a graphic designer. There's like infinite. Don't like type in graphic design, but like think about graphic design in the world, and like it's like crazy. Or like photography or like old iconography. So like Super Bowl, like I was on Flickr heavy, like because we were in this whole like Americana thing. So like a lot of it didn't even reach the stage, but like there were so many things I was seeing from like old advertisements or like how they were like speaking to people in the 50s or like how people were dressed or like just different things in like this Americana wave that like I was just deep diving on Flickr because like it's sick. But yeah, I'm like constantly referencing stuff. Like it's hard to like watch a movie or TV show unless it's like a guilty pleasure thing where I'm
I
not
was gonna
pulling
say
from
you're not
like,
watching like I was gonna say Real
I don't
Housewives. I
know.
know you're not watching
Nah,
that.
my guilty pleasure is even worse. It's crazy.
Love and Hip Hop?
Nah, what's the Tyler Perry Beauty and the Black?
Oh, overly.
Yeah,
Every
crazy.
season watched. Horrible acting.
Uh, and
Good
now
time.
the Divorce Sisters. That's the new one. But like outside of like maybe that, like everything I'm watching, like my brain can't not. It's like a gift and a curse because I can't like watch anything without being like, oh, that's a cool or oh, that's whack. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
It's necessary. I think for those who are listening, it's important, especially if your work requires you to reference any sort of creative material, that you're always kind of looking for things to inspire you, whether it's like you're going to the movies or you're outside or you're watching a
yeah,
film, because you'll be shocked at some of the timelines you get under the gun. I was just last weekend or Mother's Day weekend, I got briefed in on a project Friday at 4 p.m., deck
wow.
due Monday 10 a.m., and they wanted like crazy ideas for a crazy big artist, stunty stuff, and I'm pulling
Right.
like S. Devlin, like, but it's because I had like all these archival images of
Yeah,
like performance artists that I liked and like different activations and art pieces that meant something to me, and I don't think that I would have been able to get that deck off in 3 days had
yeah,
I not had some sort of archive to pull from. So
for
I
sure.
do think that is a important muscle for people who are especially aspiring creative directors to kind
Yeah,
of strengthen.
no,
Because you're
for
not always
sure.
gonna get that 2 week, 3 week
Nah,
pre-pro
yeah.
before the first R1 delivery.
And to be frank, the way my brain works is like it won't allow me to like open up Keynote or whatever like 2 weeks before. So like even if I do have the runway, like I'm thinking about it, but like I'm not actually maybe
Yeah.
touching it till like the last second. But like I think a big reason why I'm like I need to like make more space is so I can like really sit down and like research how I want to and like not just be on the internet looking at stuff that is like I've seen a million times or like is already in my brain. I can drive around or like open up the books that are like in my library or like you know what I mean. So um,
Yeah, very important.
yeah,
What was the first creative project you worked on that you actually got paid for and you realized, "Oh, shit, this could be an actual profession?"
that's a good question. I did a hmm,
You've been working since you're 9. You can't even remember.
I
That's crazy.
know. I'm trying to think of the first thing I've like gotten paid for. I think I mean the first like music video I think I got paid for. It's for a Chicago rapper named Big Homie Doe.
Love that name.
Yeah, it's like a super
Iconic.
street video, and somebody's gonna be mad if they pay me before that. But that's the one I can remember. Um, and what's funny is like, you know the Chicago rapper King Louis or King.
Of course.
It's his brother
Oh, wow.
um,
That's crazy.
who like manages him now. So like, I don't want to say that's when I was like, oh, I can do this, but that's probably the first time I like was like, yo, I need some bread. Like, um, yeah, and I probably was like 17 or something, 18, um, maybe 17, because I went to college when I was 17. Yeah, maybe it
So
was something before then, but like that's the one I remember. And I probably got, you know, I for sure was not getting paid to do like anything because like I think the thing I've forgotten about and like I haven't said this a lot in interviews is like being in the church was like a big thing as well because like you volunteer. So like when I was like super young, maybe like 10, 11, 12, like I was doing like sound in children's church or like,
shout out Children's Church.
yeah,
I
like,
love Children's Church.
or like when I was in high school, like was a camera operator because we like moved to like the super far suburbs and it was like big church and like they had like a broadcast. So like I was doing a lot of volunteer stuff, and then I obviously like the stuff I was just making with my friends, I was not getting paid for. So around 18, I probably started like actually making a little money for stuff.
And when was the moment you quit whatever full-time, part-time job you had to be a full-time, multidisciplinary creative filmmaker, creative director?
Yeah, you want the real the true
Of course.
answer
I want the true
is
answer.
is 18 to be honest. Like,
Crazy.
but like I don't think I had a real job because I was a student. So like technically that was my job. Like I was doing stuff here and there, but like that's the year like I dropped out 2010. I'm trying to do the math. Yeah. Um, that's the year I dropped out of school and like went to New York and like did that whole thing. So like my technical job at that point was like being a full time student and like
Still a
uh
full-time student, low key.
yeah, 100% great
Yeah.
one. So like yeah, I've been like I haven't had a real job truthfully since I was like 16, 17,
That's
um,
kind of wild.
which is crazy to say out loud. Not to say these things aren't real jobs, guys, but like you know what I mean.
I feel like what we do is more of a lifestyle. Like you can't work 7 days and it not be
Yeah,
like a lifestyle
I'm
for
trying to
real.
like make it more like a job, a little bit
Yeah,
more.
just a
It's
smidge.
been too lifestyle for the last 15 years. So like, I need to
Yeah.
figure out that balance unless if I want to like. But yeah, it is a lifestyle for sure.
And I feel like the older you get, it just doesn't become sustainable and it just is not conducive to the type of life you want to live. I'm sure the
100%.
Mike Carson that was on tour, Watch the Throne, taking photos of Hove and
Yeah,
Ye, it's like you have nothing but energy and
yeah,
time and space.
and you can stay up till 2, 3
You
a.m.
can
Like
stay
now, I'm
up.
like it's
2
11,
nights
and I'm
staying
like,
up? Yeah, I can't do
yeah,
it.
11. You know, it's 11 p.m. and I'm like, yo, like eyes twitching. So like I'm feeling the fatigue a little bit. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out that balance for sure.
I imagine a lot of your work, since it's project based, right, is these like sprints of like however much stretch of time where you're working on one project or two projects and it's like kind of a lull, how do you kind of create some semblance of a structure and order in your day to day? Like, what does a
Yeah,
standard day to day look like? And what are some things that you try to do, regardless of what projects you've got, to kind of keep some semblance of sanity?
yeah. I'll give you my like best case scenario because I feel like I'm like in it right now and like not setting a good example for like myself or others. But like a couple of months ago, I was really locked in on like working out, whether that's like getting up at 6:30, doing personal training or like hiking or something, and like started my day that way at least a few days out of the week, and like then like I messed up my hand, and then like it gave me an excuse to like not work out. So like I'm 2 months removed or 2.5 months removed from that. That was a big one. But to be frank, I'm like the worst person in terms of like the daily routine, and I'm trying to like get back on my game and also like establish like a real routine because it's very like some days I'm up early working, some days I'm up early walking around going to get a coffee, some days I'm like laying in the bed like bed rotting for 2 hours or like scrolling Instagram. So like I would say the best case scenario is like me waking up non-negotiable, moving my body, whether that's like a workout or a hike or a walk or something to like get my brain flowing because like as much as I hate to say it, you do feel better.
Hate that
Like
for us. It's true.
like you feel 100% better. Like even after like the toughest workout ever, like I feel like my days feel a lot more just accomplished and like I think my brain works best when like I'm in movement. So I think that like I've become like a really big coffee drinker now. So like
What's your coffee order?
so what I'm on right now is espresso tonic. It's very
Okay. It's very
very
California of you.
yeah, very like California grown. But what's crazy is like most places don't have it, or if they do have it, it's really bad. So like it's only a few places that like have a solid espresso.
You gotta start making it yourself. I feel like that's the next tier.
That's how I messed up my hand.
Oh, I'm
Quick
sorry.
story: trying to like peel an orange with an orange peel and just sliced
Ouch.
my thumb to like the white meat. So like,
To save
but
$10.
yeah, but I did make one the other day. Just I did not use a peeler or whatever you call it. But yeah, it's like getting up, moving my body, going to get a coffee, you know, talk to God, like then get on my phone. But it's very much like, to be frank,
It's always that phone.
especially right now, it's like it's either hopping right on the phone or like avoiding the phone because I'm like I know I have like 10, I have 20 messages from somebody I'm working with overseas or like people that are before me. So um, I'm not gonna lie, pretend like I have a routine. I like need to establish it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough. I think like the phone is the hardest part.
Yeah,
The phone is definitely the hardest part.
100%.
Now, a lot of people claim to be or are aspiring creative directors. Feels like it's kind of an overused term. In
Yeah,
your mind, what is like the simplest explanation of what exactly a creative director does? And what do you think someone needs to have both skill wise and personality wise to be a successful creative director?
yeah. I'll answer the first one. I think like you have to be good at something already um, within the space of
Making things.
making things, whether that's like you're an amazing director or you're an amazing stylist or like whatever, but like or amazing art director or graphic designer or something, but like you can't just be an amazing like mood board puller. And that's like very much a part of like the job, but like I think that is like I think I struggle with the like creative director term because of that. And like don't get me wrong, like a lot of what I do at this point in my life and career is like I'm in Keynote or Slides or Figma or whatever, like making a deck, but like there is still a part of me that's like very much like a director and a designer and like just an overall communicator. But I think a great creative director is like a leader because a lot, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're talking to a lot of people across mediums and you have to like be able to like have a strong voice and like be able to like talk to people well and like make people feel like a part of, you know, a project and excited about a project. I think you're a communicator like to the world or whatever your niche is. Like, and like I've been like telling people lately, like my job is like being good at like presenting. So like,
It's so crazy.
yeah, but like even presenting to the world, it's like how are we presenting X artist or X brand to the world, and like, you know, who's the demographic or who are we trying to talk to, yada yada. So like, and I think like the ultimately like the mood board of it all is like being like a great curator and like pulling the things that like speak to, or the people or whatever that speak to what you're trying to get across. Yeah, that's like I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, for sure it
that's
does.
that's how I would describe it. But like I do think you have to be like good at something. That's not to say like you can't do all these things at once, but like it's like lock in on something other than like being a creative director.
Yeah.
I think I've been able to like sustain and like navigate how I navigate because like the director brain speaks really well in the live space brain because it like feels disruptive and like I approach shows maybe differently than like someone's who's like a creative director that like was previously like a lighting designer or something, or like vice versa. I get to like navigate in the commercial space a little bit differently because like there's like a part like a theatrical part of my brain that like thinks about things like very like proscenium, like a stage, and like um so yeah, like I'm able to like pull from the two things I think I'm pretty good at and like apply them at like apply them to like a myriad of mediums. And I think the most important part of being a creative director is like working with amazing people and being able to like see talent and like collaborate with talent that is like better than yourself to like get something across the finish line. So like um I think being a do-it-yourselfer is a great way to like learn everything, but like it's gonna get to a point where you're like, I have to work with a better designer, or this is only gonna be as good as X, Y, and Z. But like that's not to say you shouldn't or you can't, because I think the best way to learn is just to throw yourself out there. Like I'll never forget 2013. I was like, you know, I had a pretty good relationship with Big Sean by that point. I directed a bunch of videos. I was starting to like dive into his live show, and like he did an album. It, you know, didn't do what he wanted it to do, and then I was like, yo, let me be a creative director. And like I put together a proposal. Like I, you know, obviously I wasn't like this was 12 years, 13 years ago now. So like I'm not who I am now, but like there was somewhat of a rapport and like proof of concept with like the videos I had done at that point. And that's not to say I was ready for the job at all, but like I had something to like fall back on to where like the videos at least were going to be good. You know what I mean? So like, you know, I put together a proposal and was like, I was getting paid not a lot of money, and that's like not a knock to him. I don't even think I asked for a lot of money because you know, I knew I was like a bit more inexperienced, but like working on the Virgil or like seeing Matt Williams or whoever was around at that time, like navigate, I'm like, I get enough of this, maybe not to the level of those guys, but like I understand you as a human being because I'm with you every single day. And like we have at least 3 or 4 good videos. And like I'm also, me and Mike Wax are somehow doing your merch also. And we did your album cover. So it's like, all right, like,
We're kind of already in it.
yeah, we're kind of in it. So it's like, you know, so like there was like a 2 year period where I don't want to say nothing came out, but like, cause maybe he dropped a single or something. But like there was like 2 years of like teeing up. So by the time like Dark Sky Paradise came out, it was like this is a fully fleshed out idea. obviously with the great help of people like a Virgil or Kanye to be like, don't do that. This photographer's whack. And like in hindsight, I'm like, man, I'm so glad. Like, like in the moment, you're like, man, these guys are knocking my ideas. But like in hindsight, it was like, wow, that was like a huge, a great pivot. But like that 2 years, I think I was like, you know, plus all the years of me being a director and me being just curious, and then the years I got to spend with him, almost 5 years at that point, I got his brain enough to be like, all right, we're doing this at a decent enough level, and then up until like 2020. So
Yeah, I think that's such a good shout about how collaborative the work that you do is, right? Like I think that creatives, as you're bookmarking and saving creative ideas, you should also be doing that with creative collaborators, like a
100%.
photographer that you see, or
Yeah,
an illustrator, or like someone who makes art with cake, like the most
yeah,
random things you'll stumble across. I feel like a lot of my bookmarks currently are like cool people that I'm like, okay, I think that in like 6 months you'll have figured out your POV, and maybe it makes sense to bring you on to a
yeah.
creative project.
I think the cool thing now about like working on bigger projects, maybe than what I've worked on in the previous years, is like I can hire the people that are probably on the mood board. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like the reference or whatever, quote unquote. So like that's a great part of it. And then also like seeing somebody like you said, like that's doing something with someone local in their city or something, and like they're just super ill, and like saving them, and like I have like a database of creatives. It's like very unorganized, but like
hard.
one of the tasks for you know the second half of the year is like really making that like a robust thing that we can easily like go in and be like, all right, this is like 20 3D animators, this is where they are in the world, yada yada. Here's like every photographer. So it makes it way easier when your back is against the wall. And you're like, who should we call to
It's
shoot this
always
thing?
that question,
Yeah,
gun to head, and you're like, suddenly I know no one.
yeah, for sure.
Fire. I think shout outs to all the photographers and videographers and people that are posting their work online. I think you forget how important it is to share your work at that scale because you think no one is watching, but somehow Mike Carson has your Instagram handle saved in a database deep in his notes app, ready to
Yeah,
go.
I promise you, I'm not stealing your work. I promise.
He's lying. No, he's not. He's
I will
not.
hit you up before I'm like very big on that at this part of my life. I think when I was younger, like not to say I was stealing anybody's work, but I think like I don't know. I think something clicked in my head like a long time ago where I was like, yo, you need to really be careful how you reference things because like that's really important. Like I don't want to see my work stolen, and I've seen
Yeah,
my work stolen, and
I'm
it's been
sure.
like flattering in one part of it, and then the other part of it's like, yo, you should have just hit me. So, but yeah, I think that's the beauty of the algorithm, right? Is like it's I don't want to say even playing field, but like it's close to even in terms of like visibility if you like know how to like unfortunately like game the system. But like I see stuff on my timeline or like the explore page that has like 75 likes. I'm like, I don't know how this got on my page, but like this is kind of crazy. So same with
I,
TikTok.
I'll tell my this is a perfect segue to tell the people how we
Yeah.
got connected. And it's funny because I tell this story to all of my creative thinkers, doers, photographers, whomever, when they feel discouraged or they feel like their shit is not getting seen or they're not getting the work that they want or they're pitching and they're getting passed by people with crazier Instagram numbers or what have you. I have a TikTok, obviously, that I sometimes post on. I do my best, but I be telling niggas I got a real job, no shade. Like I
Yeah.
gotta be in the trenches with the decks, but I do my best to make sure that I'm sharing a lot of what you hear on this podcast on TikTok. And one random day, I'm looking on Instagram and I see Mike Carson follow me on Instagram, and I'm like, "This nigga is following me on Instagram." Like, and I
That's
remember I
funny.
was with my homegirl, and I was like, let me just tell him I'm a fan of his work, and if he's in New York, like, let's grab some coffee and chat on some like he's never gonna respond to this. And not only did he respond, he shared a screenshot of his Spotify Wrapped. And do you know what podcast is in that Spotify Wrapped? Not y'all niggas podcast. Respectfully. Respectfully, this one that
Yeah,
you're listening to. And I share that story to tell people, like, you don't know who's gonna see your things, and the metric can't be how many likes and how
yeah,
many whatever it is, just like share something that is important and meaningful and impactful to you,
for
and you
sure.
will definitely end up on Mike Carson's For You page
Wow,
if
that's
you're lucky.
yeah. I mean, that's definitely how it happened. I was on like TikTok, and I was like, this. I don't know. I don't remember like which video. I'm sure I can find it. I was like, this is interesting. This is like a good perspective. And then yeah, like I listened to one, and then I listened to all. So yeah,
So sometimes you're yapping in your Bushwick apartment and it makes sense to Mike Carson.
yeah.
Respectfully.
Nah, I'm a like I'm always looking for like something dope to listen to. So yeah, I shout out to Work Study.
Shout out to Work Study. Now, before I have you go, for those people who are listening that have ideas that, maybe they think that they don't have the money or the resources or the eyes, and they just very doubtful about how they can do the thing that they think they should be doing. What's some
Mhm.
advice, whether they have the budget you had on the ass video, or that they had the budget you had on the Super Bowl
Yeah,
live stage? What do you tell those people that are doubtful and feel stuck and want to do a thing but don't feel like they can?
yeah. I'm gonna say one, write the idea down and like really try to like flush it out. Like even if it's just for you, like if you're like a filmmaker, like make that pitch deck or that script or whatever, like as if you do have the opportunity like sitting in front of you versus just like woe is me like the whole time. I think it's easier said than done, right? Like me being like in a quote unquote position to be like just do the thing, but like unless your thing is like making full on giant sculptures, stage designs, and you still can mark it up. Like I think like you can make literally anything now, or at least make the like deck or the proof of concept or the render or the sketch or like whatever, and like whether you want to hold it near and dear to you and like wait for that moment. But like I think putting stuff out in the world in today's day and age is the best way to like get seen or heard or like quote unquote discovered. I think that's part of it. I think another part of it is just like really sharpening your sword like at all times and like being ready for the opportunity. So whether that means like getting better at whatever your thing is that you're doing, or like getting all the knowledge you possibly can via like the infinite internet archives, or like going to workshops or whatever. Like I think that's a huge part of like a lot of what I do, and I think I think I'm good at what I do, but I think a lot of it also is like me knowing how to like navigate the space and like knowing how to talk to people, or like knowing being confident enough in what I do to like maybe win the quote unquote the pitch, and it might be somebody that's like a way iller director or a way iller designer than me, and they're like, oh wow, we need a creative director for this. We need somebody that can like help lead this project, and this guy, I might just edge you out a little bit because like my communication is a little bit better. So like sharpening the sword, whatever your medium is, like constantly, I think is a huge important part. But I hate to say it, but it's just like you have to just make stuff. Like we're in like the internet age, but also we're in the most technologically advanced age of like however you whatever you do, you can make something in certain terms of like a proof of concept. I'm not saying go out and like drain a small village with making an AI video, but like if that's what you decide to do, like that's what you decide to do. You know what I mean? In terms of like, I don't think it's too many excuses anymore in terms of like making a proof of concept. Yes, somebody has to see it, but like you got to just make stuff because when the opportunity comes, you want to be like ready to like to hold it and like sustain it, and you want to be like confident enough in your craft that you're like, oh, I've done X amount of videos myself. So like maybe I don't know all the whatever to do this giant commercial, but I'm confident enough in this one thing that I can like come and like navigate and present myself in a certain way. Because it's like I still very much am like a kid with like a small camera in my head, like, and like I got here having a small camera, shooting people's interviews or videos or whatever for free. I just shot, edit it, and then like obviously like I have the most lottery ticket story ever, but like there was
You
still
were
like
ready for it though.
yeah, there was like 10 years of like somewhat of a cultivation of me just being like so curious and like staying up all night and like I'm in every forum, I'm in every tutorial video, I'm in every I'm working at a hardware store so I can buy a camera like um but I think like something will eventually click. If you're operating appropriately, I guess. So my biggest thing is like make stuff like even if it's just for yourself. Like I love seeing people that are like, oh, I'm a 20-year-old kid or I'm a 16-year-old kid and like I taught myself Blender 3D and like I just made this whole 3D thing and my Blender is free. Like Um, so like the tools, if you have, if you're fortunate enough to have a laptop or a library card or a cell phone or something, uh, 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 something, I think you can make
Something.
something. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
and I think that's obviously only one part of it, but like, it's hard to be like, I don't have the yada yada if you haven't like exhausted yourself. And like, sometimes that might be in today's day and age, like posting a lot, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't post a lot, but I probably, if I was 18 right now, I probably would be posting a lot. I would be showing how my process is and like showing how I navigate, showing people that like they can trust me in a space because of like even how I present myself online. So, um, yeah,
Gotta just make stuff.
yeah, make stuff, be
That's
a
all you can do.
sponge,
That's all you can do.
and I think another one is like be of service as well. I think that's maybe become a bit lost because people have maybe gotten taken advantage of, but like there is no way possible I would be where I am right now if I was coming out the gate trying to like command any sort of like
Pay me $5,000
real
and
money.
I'm
Yeah, it's like
yeah. Facts.
that's not to say go work for somebody for free that's making all yada yada, but like again, this is a privileged point of view, but like that person of service might be your homie that's a rapper. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to be, ex sneaker boutique. Like if I was 18 right now, I would walk into a sneaker boutique and I had a camera, I would be like, what y'all need? I got like a camera.
Yeah, I got
I need y'all
sneakers.
to yeah, I need y'all to pay for maybe like a light or something I want to rent. And like if I had like nothing or like no, if I felt like there was no entry point, I would be like, how can I be of service and like maybe figure out a client where I'm like, I'll give you one free thing, uh, and like in return for tag me on your Instagram and say I shot this or whatever. Like figure it out. Or like again, if you don't want to do that, if that feels too like capitalist, whatever, you have a friend that's a designer or a rapper, or maybe you aren't the designer or the rapper, and you're like, let me do this thing for this person. Like my homie is a photographer. He's always trying to do a test shoot. Let me just give him 12 hours of my time, and like now I have press photos or whatever. Like get creative. There's a way.
There's a way for sure.
Yeah.
Mike,
Dang,
what's next?
it's kind of crazy. It's dark outside.
I
This is like
know.
my first like outside Zoom thing. I was trying something new. What's next? Uh, yeah, there's a few projects that are next. I don't know when this is coming out.
What are some
But
personal? Maybe I don't want to violate no NDAs. What are some
yeah,
personal Mike Carson things that you're excited about personally, professionally, what have you that's coming up?
yeah. I mean, I'm really excited about like figuring out this like infrastructure, studio infrastructure a bit more. Obviously to like support myself, but also like to be able to have like space to be like, okay, we have enough systems and infrastructure to like bring on an intern or like
Yeah.
do like some stuff where like, because like in the spirit of even what I just said, like it's hard for me to be like, let me get an intern right now, because I'm like, you're gonna be like, it's not gonna be structured how you want it to be. Even though people are like, I just want to be in a room. I'm like, I don't want you to just be in a room. Like I want this to
Yeah,
like make sense for everyone. So like
for
really
sure.
excited about that. I'm excited about just like um, learning and growing. And like I have a personal project I've been working on. I won't say I've been working on it because I haven't touched it in years, but like I started it in 2023, and like a big goal for me is to like put it out this year. It's like very multidisciplinary, like video design, product, and stuff. So like hopefully it's out. I'm not gonna say hopefully, it will be,
It
it
will
will
be. It
be
will be.
out by
It will be.
December 31st. So
No
um,
pressure.
hold me to it.
Okay, I will. I'll check in like 3 months, see where you're at.
You know,
Mike, it's been a
yeah.
pleasure. Thank you for
Uh,
joining me on this episode of Work Study. I know that people are gonna pull a lot of great gems out of this and hopefully go outside and make some stuff.
yes, I hope so. Hopefully it was good. So like, yeah, hit me up on Instagram, people. I do check my DMs sometimes, not all the time, but like there are a few people out in the world right now that are like DM hoppers that have like done way bigger things than you would think. So I'm always checking and always trying to connect with people. So yeah.
Dope. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Work Study, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
Peace.